Report shows sharp decline in people moving to Tampa. Florida housing market mirroring 2008 crash. These are the headlines. What is happening in the state of Florida? Let's dive in and find out. So listen, if you follow the news, you likely think that the real estate market's on fire and everything is failing in the state of Florida. And I wanted to take you into some of the numbers because math never lies and show you actually what's going on here. So first of all, to show you these headlines, here's the first one. Report shows sharp decline in people moving to Tampa. It's like a fire sale, they're saying. So as we move a little further, it brings in some data, which is good. So a report from Redfin stated that nearly 35,000 people were moving to Tampa in 2023. That came down in 2024 to 10,000. So to put in perspective, that was about 100 people per day in 23 versus about 30 people per day in 24. Second article, Florida housing market mirroring 2008 crash. So real estate analysts warned Florida's housing market is facing a downturn, which echoes the 2008 crash. One of the things they also noted is that the homes for sale were up at 177,000, the most on record. Well, let's take a look at, first of all, what's happening in the state of Florida. And I want to look at a broad timeline. Now, here's what I want to do. I want to start high level. I want to look at the entire state of Florida to get a picture of what's happening since 2008 to now. And then we're going to dive down a little bit further and look at Tampa itself. So here we are, Florida active inventory. You can see this was back in 2008. You can see how things got super crazy in the COVID times and where we are today. So are we mirroring what happened in 2008? Well, I'll let you decide. Are we at the highest inventory that we have ever been at? Well, seems pretty evident. We were up here at about 230,000 homes for sale back in April of 2008. Right now, you can see we're here at about 114,000. Now, if you look at a trend and what's happening, where are we trending? We are trending up, and this has really been happening since interest rates started rising. Now, something interesting that I find about this chart is all through here, 2013 to about 2020, we were between about 50 to 100,000 homes for sale for about 7 years, pretty flatlining there. Obviously, when interest rates dropped to zero, things heated up, tons of homes were sold. We're now back in that same range right now of where we were comfortably sitting for about 7 years. So I think the market has to make a decision. Are we going to continue to climb, which is looking like it's a possibility? Are we going to start to flatten out? A lot of factors. I think tariffs are a large part of that discussion. I also think interest rates and what happens with Jerome Powell and what the future of that is going to be is going to decipher where this ultimately goes. Now let's look at sales price in the state of Florida. Are we seeing the market fall apart? Are we seeing prices fall? Well, here's the data. Basically, since 2022, if you were to draw a trend line on this, where would you draw it? You're not drawing it up. You're not drawing it down. It's straight across. So we're seeing the market hold pretty steady. Sellers are getting pretty close to what they're asking for. Buyers are negotiating deals, but people aren't taking big equity losses on their homes. You can see through the COVID period, we had massive increases and really we've just kind of come straight across. Now you are going to see month over month, that changes a little bit. So for example, in April of last year, we had a 5% increase versus March of this year, we were down 2%. So we're not seeing anything major of anything that really scares me, but we're really seeing that trend line come across. I'm expecting it's probably going to continue around there until we see some moves in interest rates. So let's dive into Tampa and take a look at what's happening there. So first, same thing, starting off with inventory. Where does our inventory lie? What's really interesting is how strikingly similar the Tampa metro is compared to the entire state of Florida. So I'm just going to jump back and forth from these charts real quick to show you so you can kind of see how the trend falls. Let me show you what the whole state of Florida looks like. It's almost the exact same chart going back and forth. So the Tampa metro is really following the state of Florida as a whole. And same story. You can see the inventory has come up. Similar discussion. We talked about we remain between this 10,000 to 15,000 homes on market for 7 years. And we're right in line with that right now. And the market's right at the point where it looks like it's going to have to decide if we're going to create new highs of what we've had in a while for inventory, or if we're going to steady out. Interest rates, that biggest discussion again. Now, how about our median price? Median prices, same thing. Let's look at what it was compared to the state of Florida. There's the state of Florida. Here's the Tampa Metro. Strikingly similar, once again, similar discussion. Now you can see in the last few months, we are putting in negatives. We've seen prices go down year over year, but we're talking 1%, 2%. Nothing really noteworthy or nothing that's strikingly worrisome per se. If I'm going to draw a trend line through the price of what's happening in Tampa Bay, that's going to be pretty flat. Now we did see a little bit of a price correction here coming through those interest rate increases. I think things were so hot it started to cool off a little bit, and then you saw a little bit of recovery. But if I'm looking macro level and deciding what's happening in the market, I still see it as pretty flat, prices remaining very flat. All right, let's get a little bit more granular and take a look at the Tampa Bay market just since the beginning of this year, 2025. Now the graph rather of what you're looking at here, I like this because you're comparing to the last 3 years. So you can see exactly how we're doing right now versus where we were in previous years, real time. Now, blue line here is 2025. Now you can see we had pretty heavy listing period. These are our new listings we're looking at. So beginning of the year, shot straight up, tapered across. Very similar to previous years, but at a higher rate. Now we are seeing our listings have come down ever so slightly compared to both 2024 and 2022. So what's interesting is as of beginning of March, we were up as much as 10% year over year in number of new listings. Whereas right now, compared to last year, we're down 2%. So we saw a lot of listing data really fast, and it started to taper down. And how does the pending sales correlate with our active inventory? Are we getting contracts? That's what this chart is showing here. So once again, looking at this blue graph, we can see we followed very closely to last year, 2024. We had strong pending sale growth. And just in the last month, we've seen a taper come down. Is it meaningful yet? We will find out. I think there's still an opportunity for that trend line to jump back up and ultimately see high demand as we're coming into the busiest sales months, which are the summer months here in Florida. Now, here's a chart I wanted to show you that was interesting, and I think this is a testimony to seller sentiment for what the market has been in the last few years. This is the new listing median price. So basically, in sellers' minds, what do they want for their house and where are they listing? Look how skyrocket this is. Boom! We are just killing our previous years in terms of what sellers want for their houses. So 420,000 versus last year at 400,000. So we're about $20,000 higher and where we're listing our homes. And then take a look at this, see where sales are falling. So here we are. Are we actually getting more for our houses even though we're listing higher? No. I mean, we were actually quite a bit lower in the beginning, and we've kind of evened out to 2024. The latest data, we're down 2% at 370K. So you can see that comparison. We're listing at 420,000 and getting 370. But are we way out of line for what we've been doing in previous years? No, we're kind of right there. And the last chart I want to show you here is our days on market. Now, specifically, if you're thinking about selling a property here in the Tampa Bay area, this is important, especially for planning. If you're purchasing another home, trying to align sales, it's important to understand, on average, how long it's taking these homes to get under contract. Well, you can see when the market was just ferocious, we were down here at 10 days, 6 days, you could get a contract on your house. We're not seeing those timelines right now. Even if your home is priced decently and you have a nice house, it could take over a month. For example, the latest data, we're at about 40 days to get a contract on a home. Last year, we were a little bit lower at about 32. So 8-day difference. We are a little bit higher. It's taking a little bit longer. When buyers are making decisions right now, they're doing a lot of due diligence. They know they're going to be taking on a 6 to 7% interest rate. And so they want to make sure that everything aligns. And I am finding also that homes that are extremely well prepared, buyers are willing to go and they're willing to pay good prices for. But if they're seeing that, hey, I have to make repairs, I have to do maintenance on this, and the home isn't like really ready, oftentimes they're just bypassing those houses and they'll go find one that's ready for them. They don't want to spend more money. They're spending enough on their mortgage as it is to want to go spend more on maintenance or repairs. So let's wrap up this conversation and go back to the initial headlines. Are we seeing migration actually slow down? Yeah, I think that's a real number. We've slowed down 35,000 to 10,000. I think a large portion of that is the two major hurricanes that came through our area, and there's a lot of emotion that goes into a buyer making the decision to move from another state to Florida, and having the chance of your home being destroyed is a big concern. So I find a lot of buyers are wanting to be away from water areas. A lot of the ones that I'm talking to right now, they're saying they want nothing to do with the ocean. And there's plenty of areas that you can go that you're likely going to have very minimal impact, even if a hurricane were to come through. And are we seeing that this is a 2008 crisis and home prices are going to absolutely tank? There's not enough data for me to make any conclusion that would go anywhere near that. Our inventory is actually pretty healthy right now. If you look at where and I guess in general terms, where healthy inventory is, that's around 4 to 6 months of active inventory on the market at any given point. That gives buyers the opportunity to negotiate. It doesn't give sellers the best seat at the table to get everything they want. And we're just kind of barely creeping into the bottom part of that number. We're at about 4 months of inventory. Okay, so listen, we've made a lot of YouTube videos about Tampa Bay real estate, showing you some of our favorite areas and best places to purchase. This is one of the first ones that we've done about the market in general. Let me know your thoughts and what I missed. What information are you looking for to help you make a better decision about relocating to the Tampa Bay area? Let me know how I can be a resource, what other questions I can ask. You've got my contact. Talk to you soon.